I was in a very privileged position to meet an awful lot of really well-known people, charming people, and hear wonderful music.
There was something in the way she moved that caught the eye of not one but two music legends. Pattie Boyd was the woman caught in the middle of rock's most famous love triangle. And after decades of silence, she's giving a remarkable insight into what life was like as the wife of George Harrison and Eric Clapton.
I think I lost my sense of identity when I was married. I know I did. And it took me a very long time to regain it and find out who I was.
Her personal collection of photographs is now touring the world. The exhibition, Through the Eyes of a Muse, depicts intimate moments during her days as rock royalty. But life could have been so much different for the English model had she not taken a bit part in A Hard Day's Night, the film that captured the essence of Beatlemania.
Excuse me, but these young men I'm sitting with wondered if two of us could come over and join you.
The then 19-year-old only had one line.
I'm sorry, miss, you mustn't fraternise with me prisoners.
Prisoners?
Convicted.
That was enough to win the heart of a Beatle.
Get out, ladies! Get out while you can!
It was obvious that we actually quite liked each other, and there was a bit of chemistry going on. Before the train came to halt and we all disappeared in different directions, he said to me, "Will you marry me?"
At first, Pattie Boyd turned George Harrison down, but within 2 years they were married.
And what about the family? How many children do you want to have?
About 2.
39. Okay.
Something in the way she moves.
It was while recording the White Album that George Harrison penned Something, now one of the Beatles' most covered songs.
Something in the way she woos me.
It wasn't until after he came back from the studio and said that he'd written this song for me. But he said it in such a sort of shy way. I think he wasn't sure what my reaction was going to be. And, I was so flattered I couldn't believe it.
But by then their relationship had become complicated. George Harrison was obsessed with Eastern philosophy after his wife encouraged the group to visit India. Back home, he would spend endless hours meditating.
Don't leave now.
This was a moment I just captured George looking very peaceful, very calm, very beautiful. And then after this, he was going to face, the rest of the Beatles and the business and Apple and everything like that.
All through the day, I'm in mine, I'm in mine, I'm in mine.
At that stage, Pattie Boyd's photography was simply a hobby, but it was her unobtrusive approach which allowed her to capture extraordinary moments. But as time went by, George Harrison withdrew from the marriage.
He was fairly promiscuous, and he obviously wanted to enjoy himself in a way that... Well, we were just doing things in different ways, and he wanted to... I think he really did want his freedom, but he wanted both.
Their fragile relationship was severely tested when George Harrison's close friend Eric Clapton played her a new song. The lyrics told a story of unrequited love, and there was no doubting it was written for Pattie Boyd. Can you describe for me the day that you heard Layla?
It was quite difficult because I thought that this is such a public declaration of his feelings for me, and I wasn't really ready for it. In fact, I wasn't ready at all for it, because I still hadn't made up my mind whether George and I could get back on track.
When she discovered her husband was having an affair with Ringo Starr's wife, Maureen, she knew it was over. And in 1979, Mrs. Harrison became Mrs. Clapton. Once again, it was a troubled relationship. Eric Clapton was drinking heavily. What was it like being married to an alcoholic?
It's actually very difficult because it's not predictable. Behaviour's not predictable at all. But I mean, his manager really tried to stop him drinking for a few hours before going on stage, but it didn't. He wasn't always successful.
But there were plenty of good times too. Pattie Boyd got to mix with a who's who of British celebrities. But her marriage to Eric Clapton ended after 9 years. They divorced in 1989. It wasn't until 4 years ago that she felt ready to revisit the past and look through her collection.
I don't think I really could have done it before then, because I didn't want to delve into Pandora's box, because you never know how you're going to feel.
This was the last photo Pattie Boyd took with George Harrison, 25 years after this one taken in their garden.
I just feel sad that George isn't around. You know, it's really sad that he left this earth too early, I think.
Today, Pattie Boyd's still capturing the unguarded moments. For a woman who made her career in front of the lens, she's now become a respected photographer in her own right.
It's very exciting, and I love travelling, and with the photographs it's allowing me to do this. So the photographs are giving me a life that I otherwise wouldn't have had, I think.